Hey guys, welcome to this Pregnancy Pilates video. My name is Kim Saha. I'm a physiotherapist and a qualified Pilates instructor as well. So it means that everything that I do is safe, evidence-based and medically recommended. So pregnancy obviously is a long time for me to cover with a Pilates workout. So I'm going to keep it safe for any stage of pregnancy. And I would like you to follow it through, subscribe to my channel, because I have some very popular postnatal workouts as well. I have 3 children myself. So although this is me in my shape right now, this has not always been the case. My children are 5, 7 and 9. As the timing of the filming right now, so I feel in pretty good form afterwards. So please follow my schedule through and you can feel great yourself. So as long as you have no medical reason not to exercise through your pregnancy, like I say, this should all be nice and safe, but please do seek advice to make sure that the health professionals around you are happy for you to do so. So we're going to start off with the feet hip-width apart, pointing forwards, just working a little bit on posture to start with, because posture is affected by your pregnancy for many reasons. Bend your knees a little, tuck your bottom under now as much as you can. So you will potentially have a bump here in the way that's stopping you from tucking under, but it is very important that you don't just go with that and sway your back. So just think about tucking and lengthening through the back here, tucking your pelvis under as much as you can. Having the knees slightly soft will help you do this. So making sure you're doing that, just activating those lower tummy muscles again as much as you can. This is safe to do so. Tucking the bottom under, trying to keep those ribs down. Now they have to expand to make room for the baby. But if you work your hardest to just smooth those ribs down just a little bit, you mustn't worry about squashing the baby. This is not possible. It has enough room in there. Our bodies are designed for it, and we need to protect our bodies just as much. So those ribs are sinking down now, open out through the chest. This is a common problem in pregnancy, to close down through the front of the chest. So we need to open out. This is useful whilst breastfeeding afterwards. Everything closes down, breastfeeding, bottle feeding, whatever, closing down. I just rescued my microphone there. So we're going to start with the palms facing up, a little bit of space between the elbow and the body, and we're just taking the hands out to the side. I'd like you to think while we're doing this about tucking your chin, lengthening through the back of the neck. Good. And why not? Let's think about the pelvic floor as well. This ties in with the deep abdominals, and it's a fantastic cue. It's also something that you'll have all been asked to do whilst pregnant. Whilst we're doing this, let's just draw our attention to our feet. The feet can suffer during pregnancy as well. So lift and separate the toes. Push down through that big toe just a little bit, lifting up your arches slightly. The arches are prone to dropping because of the laxity in the ligaments, because of the hormones, but also because of the extra weight and the different distribution of the weight, which is a little bit more forwards. Okay, keeping that chin tucked, take the hands out, take the arms out, elbows in, hands together. So a really good stretch through the arms. Good. It's a bit of a nerve stretch if you can feel it down through the arms to the fingertips. Keep thinking about gently tucking that bottom under. And keep the weight a little bit back through the heels. You'll be getting used to taking the weight a little bit forward through your toes because of the bump pulling you forwards if you're at that stage. Good, and try to keep breathing. On this next one, we're going to do a nice rotation. So pause there, everybody. Rotate to the right. Notice my hips stay pointing forwards and my arms don't follow the movement. Back to the center, elbows in, hands together. Hands out, elbows out. Rotate. Good, elbows in. Fantastic. Keep going, rotate. To the front, elbows in, hands together. I'm just filming here in a church hall. That was someone just coming in. One more each side. Good. And the last one. here. We're going to bend one knee. The feet are hip width apart, the bottom's tucked under, and the hips are level. This is really important to strengthen around that pelvis area. We're going to swap in the air and push the other heel down to the floor. Make sure those shoulders are dropped. The chin is tucked, the chest is open. So swap, push the heel down into the floor, tighten the thigh. Really good to mobilize around those feet. Like I said, they do take a little bit of a battering. Good. We're dropping the shoulders, keeping the chest open and keeping those hips level. Really important to support the pelvis. It does get very mobile during pregnancy because of those hormones, like I say, all surging around in your system, getting ready for the pelvis to open up for you to give birth. So that's why it's quite common to get back pain, pelvis pain, and instability, laxity around the pelvis. So keeping those hips as level as you can. Push the heel down into the floor. Squeeze your bottom a little bit. Fantastic. Right, keeping the hips, feet hip width apart. Drop your shoulders. And we're just going to be bending from side to side. Now this is quite an old-fashioned exercise, but quite a nice one, I think. Really nice, again, in pregnancy, just to open up those sides. We get a little bit stiff. Don't get me wrong, you really do stiffen up. You can't move as much as you would normally. You're a little bit more restricted. Stretch down. And it's just good to do these movements. Keep the spine mobile. Fantastic. One more each side. Good work. We're going to step the legs out. Now then, if you have had problems around the pelvis and a health professional has told you to try to keep the knees pinned together as you move, then this might not be the one for you. If that is the case, I want you to keep the feet together and do some gentle little squats with your knees and toes pointing forwards. Now for the rest of us that haven't had any problems around the pelvis, it is actually very nice to open out through the hips a little bit. Tuck your bottom under, keep your chest open, but these are not big squats. You're just bending the knees, same if your feet are pointing forwards and we're doing it in line, just the same. So squeeze your bottom. As with a lot of movements, if it challenges the stability of an area, it will strengthen that. So by doing these, it could prevent you having pelvis issues going forwards as you get heavier. Good. Squeezing your bottom as you come up, rotating those knees out. Good. And then we're going to stay here, lifting alternate heels. Good. Keeping that bottom tucked under as much as you can. I'm going to keep mentioning that because that's the bit that's going to go. Keep your tailbone pointing straight down towards the floor. Keep your shoulders dropped, your chest open. Good. And then we can just glide from side to side there. If I was just filming you from the top half, all I would see is that going from side to side. So it's staying down and just gliding from side to side. Amazing. Bring the toes in, the heels in, the toes in again. Good stuff. So let's work on your balance briefly. You can pause this video at any point if it's moving too fast. So you can pause, get on with the exercise in your own time and then replay. We're going to take the weight onto that left side and pick up your right. Again, hips completely level. If you need a chair next to you, then do so. It's not necessarily something I want you doing, falling over at this stage. Bring that foot down to the floor, squeeze your bum on that side, tighten your thigh, pick up the other side, dropping the shoulders. Good stuff. You can play your own music in the background, by the way. Keep the hips level, pick up the other leg, drawing in through your tummy. Come back down. We're going to do one more each side. Picking up. Drop the shoulders and come back down. Last one. Amazing. All right, so we're going to come down onto the end of the mat and we're going to come into all fours, which is a fantastic position in pregnancy. So your chin's down to your chest and you're curling down one vertebrae at a time. This gets difficult, trust me. Good. but you should be able to do it. Go as far as you can. Let your head hang heavy, your arms hang heavy. It's really nice you carrying around a heavy head. Good. And then we're going to bend the knees, come down to the floor, and then onto your hands and knees. Okay. So around the shoulders to start with, dropping down and lifting up, lowering and lifting just around at the shoulders. So we're not bending the elbows and we're not bending the back. It's just the shoulders. So it's just really good to get those shoulder blades moving, getting everything working. Good. And then we're going to just do the pelvis. Now this is really nice to get that lower back moving. Continue to do lots of pelvic tilts. They are fantastic to keep that pelvis moving. Amazing. Draw in through your tummy and lift up your bump each time. Good. Now we're going to do 10, just sliding the arm forwards and lifting up, and sliding the other arm and lift. Slide and lift. Good work. Thinking about that pelvic floor as we go. This is an ideal opportunity to be doing those pelvic floor exercises, tightening and holding. Lovely. Now then, I'm very fussy about this one. We're going to slide the leg out and lift down. So I don't want that back arching at all. Really feel, slide out. Understand how far you need to lift or how far you can lift before that back arches. Notice how relatively little I'm lifting that leg up off the floor. Good. Just take note, it is normal to get cramping in the toes. So don't point the toes too hard. During pregnancy, it's really normal to get cramping through the toes, but this is a fantastic position to get your deep abdominals working. If you just try to let go and lift through your bump, and let go and lift, it's a lovely position to get those abdominals working, like I say. Now, a couple of stretches. We're going to take the arm up to the side, rotate, and then we can push through. Good. And come back up. Take the other arm up and out to the side. Back of the hand, push through. Good. Other side, stretch up. Back of the hand through. This does get tighter as time goes on. It's really good to loosen that upper back. Stretching up and through. Good. A couple more. We're going to stretch forwards, up and round. Good. And the other side, stretch forwards, up and round. Just one more each side of these, stretching forwards, up and over and round. And the last one, forwards, up and over and round. Now widen the knees and sit back. Stretch your fingertips forwards and tuck your tailbone under. Make the most of this stretch. Relax and release yourself down into it, but those knees have to be wide. Great work. Now, we're going to be lying on the side. So one thing that you can really work on are these glutes. If you feel comfortable flat, then do. Prop your head up if that's good for you, or you can even come up onto the elbow here. But this might be a good position. Tuck that bottom hip backwards. I want your bump to feel like it's really resting on the floor there. Get a little pillow underneath if it's uncomfortable. Your feet should be in line with your bottom. Your bottom should be tucked under as much as you can. Again, it's that same position, isn't it? And then we're just lifting that top knee. So it's this glute that we're working. Good, you should have a little bit of tension through your tummy. Lower tummy muscles, just a little bit of tension through there, and your top hand on the floor. Good. Keep your breathing relaxed. 10. Another 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to bring the feet up to hip height. Now don't make anything painful. It's really important that you don't work things too hard during pregnancy, as when it's achy and painful, it's just that little bit more unpleasant. And we don't want to challenge the joints too much. But like I say, all of these exercises are safe within pregnancy, as long as you've been advised that you're healthy to do so, or if you haven't had any problems so far in your pregnancy. Good, but it's fantastic to get those muscles around the hip working. So we're just going to come on to the other side. Good. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that. I know that's not the easiest thing to do when you get slightly heavier. Those of you who are not that pregnant yet, that's what you've got to come forward. So tuck the bottom hip back, tuck your ribs back a little bit, tuck your bottom under. Good. And then we're just lifting that top knee. Good. So remember, your bump should be resting on the floor in front of you. For those of you who aren't that pregnant yet, try and keep a little bit of a gap here. Good. Remember, if you are stronger, you can come up onto that elbow and come up out of the shoulder. Lift and lower. That's something you might be able to build up to. However, it's difficult to build things up during pregnancy because, of course, you are in a slightly deteriorating state as far as your body is concerned. And it is important not to push yourself further than you did before. So you shouldn't be doing anything that you weren't doing before you were pregnant. Okay, lifting that knee. Little bit different for Pilates, with it being physio-led and a safe exercise to do. Good. And I think we've got 10 more to do. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fantastic. Now then, just like I discussed before, if you have been told you need to keep your knees together, then don't do this stretch. But if you are healthy around your pelvis and everything is happy, then cross your legs and lean forwards a little bit into it. This will stretch off the glute muscles. So be very careful with this one. If you've had any twinges in the front of your pelvis there and your pubic symphysis, then this isn't the exercise to do. Just rest a second. If everything's fine, then you can do this. Now then, we're just going to do a few stretches to finish off. So well done, you've done the most of the workout. You're going to bring one leg up in front of you here. Everything pointing forwards. I'm going to give you a little bit of time, like I say, to get into that position, or pause it and carry on. I want you to tuck your bottom under and just lunge slightly forwards into it. Now I'm going to make the most of getting these rotations done. So in this position, you're lunging forward, stretching the back of the hip. Good. 5. The hip flexors get very tight. Swap sides, just be careful. Might be good to have a wall next to you to do this swap. I'm not pregnant, I'm using it. Tucking your bottom under, everything nicely in line. And we're going the other way, just rotating that chest. 2, 3, 4. And last one. Good stuff. So we're just going to put our hands down, come back into that lovely hands and knees position there. Toes tucked under at the back. And we're going to come into a downward dog. So as long as you don't have any problems with your blood pressure, this one should be fine to do. Drop down into the heels, broaden your chest at the back, and then we're just going to walk through the ankles, bend and straighten each knee, pushing each heel down to the floor, stretching through those calves, which you will also find are quite tight. Lovely. We're going to walk the hands towards the feet, bend your knees if you need to. Hang there again briefly. You might find that you're a little bit lower now, which would be very nice. Curling up. And I'm just going to get you to stick one leg forwards, just to do a hamstring stretch. So stretching down the back of that leg. We've just done it a little bit, but not quite enough perhaps. Good work. Coming up. You can stay in these stretches a little bit longer if you like, and do a little bit more yourself afterwards. Good work. And then we're going to bend one knee and stretch one quadricep at a time, holding onto something, bottom tucked under, push your knee down towards the floor. Lovely. And the other side, make sure the standing leg, the knee is a little bit bent. Good. Bottom's tucked under, drop the shoulders. Lovely, and then just a few big deep breaths to finish. Toes pointing forwards. Breathe in up onto your toes, gently up onto the toes. Breathe out, lock your hands behind your head, drop the shoulders. Breathe in, lift your shoulders, breathe out and drop. Breathe in, stretch up and round. So up onto the toes gently. Down, drop the shoulders, breathe in, lift the shoulders, breathe out and drop. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and lower. So fantastic. There you go. There's your pregnancy quick workout, although you can spread it out as long as you like with pausing the video, put your own music on in the background. This is one to do that's safe throughout your pregnancy as long as you've been advised that you are able to exercise. So definitely try to subscribe to my channel. Click the little red box, and that means you'll get notifications of new workouts that come out. But I do have a fantastic postnatal series, which I will link in the comment box or the description box below, so that you can move on to that as soon as it's safe to do so after your pregnancy.